much. I am Tom Dugan, and Bluestone Geologic is really a service-based company. We don't sell anything except expertise in the geologic area, and specifically in Kentucky, even though we do cross some of the state lines and do the sorts of assessments that we do in other states. Tennessee, we've done quite a lot of work, and some of the others. But basically, we're into two primary geologic conditions, I guess, across the state, and we see it here in the Lexington area, but another primary area that we work is in the Bowling Green, where a lot of sinkholes and a lot of the underground plumbing, the good and the bad is some of that underground plumbing can actually be tapped into as a groundwater resource. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. The first being sort of the positive aspect of what we do is look for this mother lode for folks. And in the first case, we've got a leaky pond scenario. This is basically the two general areas we're talking about. The build site evaluations are either pre-construction or post-construction. In the case that I'm going to give you an example of where they actually built an apartment and a sinkhole opened up underneath them. So we try to get ahead of that curve. But the first one I'll show is the groundwater exploration. It's actually from hopefully y'all can see that, but it's basically a pond just south of here, just south of town. It's on a horse farm, Darley. Johnabel, you might have heard of it, but it's, in a lot of the horse farms, it's all about aesthetic. So the look is everything. This pond leaks like a sieve. So we were going to look at a couple possibilities, and to run geophysical surveys is a primary tool that we use. We've got 2 or 3 different types, 4 or 5, that we own 2, and one of which I lease. So part of this diagram is showing you where we ran a survey here and along this more eastern side of the pond. We know there were some springs that were leaking right in here. They've drained the pond, and right now it's just a big mud hole, essentially. And so we knew we had to intercept what I initially looked at, fracture analysis, and did a lineament interpretation to find out where some of these primary flow paths, we call it karst, it's limestone that's been solutioned out. Well, initially it's based on fracturing, is the kind of the incipient and the startup to the underground flow. And in the analysis, it looked like fractures were primarily on trend, on topographic contour, essentially, right through here. So we crossed what we assumed would be the fractures, and a lot of times we don't know. It's an evaluation and assessment that's only proven finally when we do some drilling. So in this case, this was a couple of the surveys, and I'll back up here to show you that this first one was run right across here, and it's a geophysical tool called a electrical resistivity. And so the first one is the top one, and it is running essentially west to east, and we got a couple of principal anomalies, one here and another one right here, that basically this is real shallow. It's what we anticipated from the look at the geology. Another part of the project evaluations are we actually, here in Kentucky, have everything mapped. We're one of only 2 states. You can imagine the other one, it's Rhode Island. But every county, every section of Kentucky's been mapped. So we can look at the geologic quadrangle, know what's going on. And basically the upper 50 feet is real prone to karst, fracturing, solutioning. And we, in our surveys, found the same thing, but real principally centered here. Each one of these nodes are stainless steel stakes that we drove into the ground and conducted electricity. And this is how we conduct the survey, is generate about 1,000 volts of current, and from it we could pick up on this and this. We drilled it. This is about a 50-gallon-a-minute well. This one is an air-filled fracture that when we get more water, it's bound to actually flow water. So what we're looking at is something like this as a positive result, but the upgrades we want to do in the is to get a better assessment of things like this sinkhole that opened up in Bowling Green. And to do that, we have to upgrade tools. And instead of leasing, and this is actually the survey at that apartment complex, where